Let's talk about a messy divorce no one expected in the reality TV world. Nikki and Artem are not only breaking up, they filed freaking restraining orders against each other. Say it ain't so. First, let's look back a bit and refresh our reality TV memories. Nikki and Artem met in 2017 when they were paired together on season 25 of Dancing with the Stars. Back then, Nikki was actually still engaged to John Cena, the superstar at the time. But in July 2018, Bella and Cena ended their relationship, and then Nikki and Artem were free to start their own and even got engaged in November 2019. It was a hot and heavy whirlwind romance. They welcomed their son in July 2020, Mateo, and they said I do in August 2022. This was on a reality show called Nikki Bella Says I Do. Honestly, Artem and Nikki seemed to have this sweet relationship where he was really quiet and they had no issues until a little while ago, actually. News came out that Artem got arrested for a domestic violence situation with Nikki out of the blue. This is not something any of us would have expected at all that day. Well, now we have a lot more details about what actually went down that day. An article was published by People magazine based on what was filed for the restraining orders, because you have to explain and stuff. I'll link the whole article in the description, but it says that Garcia claimed, according to the filing, that Artem had grown increasingly angry since he was cut from Dancing with the Stars, where the two met, and they were paired together on the 25th season of the reality competition series. Though they had previously had discussions about his need to control his anger, which, by the way, did not know. I mean, it's so weird, right? The person you see on screen can be so different than off screen. Is crazy. But the former WWE wrestler claims he snapped and yelled at her during a conversation about how Mateo's English muffin should be toasted, with Artem alleging Garcia had made him a picky eater. Yes, people, this whole thing stemmed from an English muffin. It's actually sad. The article says Garcia claimed she was so overwhelmed by Artem yelling at her that morning that she threw her son's toddler size 7 shoes towards her ex. The shoes contacted Artem's leg. I acknowledge it was not right for me to throw the shoes, but I was so overwhelmed with everything that had happened that morning that I had a momentary lapse of judgment. So I guess Artem decided to take Mateo to his room, and he explained in his declaration he closed the door behind him and refused to let Nikki in despite her demands that he open the door right now. When she allegedly forced herself in, I guess he says that Mateo started crying, and he didn't want his son to see his mother angry and confrontational in his bedroom. And so it says Artem moved himself and Garcia out. I tried to get her off me and away from the door frame so that Mateo would not witness any further conflict, Artem alleged. I cannot stress enough how many times I pleaded with her to stop and calm down. There was a mutual struggle, and both ended up on the ground. At that moment, I knew that nothing I would say would get to her and make her calm down. I was hurt and scared of her continuing on. I needed help for her to stop. In her filing, Nikki claims that when she got her arm through the door, Artem tackled her to the ground outside of Mateo's room. She claims that he grabbed her arm and held her down to the ground for what felt like 20 to 30 seconds. According to her filing, she continued pushing on the door and got in. Then he allegedly pushed her across the hall into their bedroom and forced her to the floor of their bathroom. The dancer I guess she says, had his hands on my chest near my sternum and was pressing down. Let's remember, by the way, she had surgery on her spine. So back in the day, I just remember that. And she says that she felt like she was suffocating, and then she grabbed his neck, trying to get him off of her. There was nothing else I could do. After all that, I mean, this is pretty serious. Artem called 911 but then ended up getting arrested instead. So it's a tangled web, and they'll be actually going to court over this. I'm just still shocked that this is even happening. It was such a fairy tale until all of a sudden, I guess it's not. But it quickly crashed and burned. And honestly, Nikki should have probably stayed with John Cena. Sorry, not sorry. But this is pretty shocking reality TV news right there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.